March 10th, 2017. You're looking at live webcam images of Oroville Dam at 5 p.m. Central Time here in the United States. We talked about this 2 weeks ago, that the snow is going to melt above Oroville and Shasta. Now there's evacuation warnings for 11 areas downstream. They're saying the partially destroyed spillway, which was closed since February 27th, is dredging contractors at the bottom of the dam desperately to try to carve a 1,500-foot long by 150-foot wide by 30-foot deep emergency trench into the diversion pond to clear the Edward Hyatt power plant's water intake pipes. A lot of debris came in there, rocks and stuff, and blocked it. Although heavy equipment operators have completed about 40% of the trench and opened 2 intake pipes, they are now discharging 13,000 cubic feet of water per second. Now, we'll look at that. We're going to look at the current inflow and outflow rates, but you notice the helicopter that is in there working. But the sheriff/coroner, which is not maybe a good omen, it's Corey Honnier, has declared evacuation warnings for 11 zones in Butte County, including areas south of Lincoln Boulevard for the towns of Oroville and Thermalito, all low-lying areas around the Feather River that include Grigley, Biggs, Yuba City, Loma Rica, and everywhere south of Butte County along the Feather River towards Sacramento. Guys, it's a pretty wide area. Now, if you remember, back on, it was February the 13th, they didn't have about an hour to evacuate 188,000 people, so he had promised then that he would try to give a 12 to 24-hour notice. Now, the National Weather Service is saying that temperatures will jump from a high of 60 degrees earlier this week to an expected high of 78 degrees over the weekend, about 14 degrees higher than average for the time of the year. But then by midweek, the Weather Service predicts 2 days of warm Pineapple Express monsoon rains will hit Oroville and the local mountains. The NOAA has rated over 90% of California's experiencing extreme water year. Says the Merced River is above flood stage, but numerous points and contributaries along the Sacramento and San Joaquin are already in the warning stage. California Department of Water Resources estimates that the snow water equivalents, again 190% for the Central Sierras, and it was 150% for the northern Sierras and 186% for the southern Sierras. Normally, the high point to California's 24 major reservoirs and lakes is during the peak snowmelt in late May to early June. The water levels in all but 3 are currently rated at extreme above the historic averages for this time of the year. We'll look at that chart. The combination of the snowmelt and storms will create river flooding and could unleash floodwaters going over the dams. This is what we talked about, and it's been spared by a little bit cooler weather, but that's changing. And so it's going to take time to run off. But again, remember the 11 areas that the sheriff has put the warning up on. Now, what they were talking about, historic levels, see the red line at the top dam is Shasta, Trinity to the right, left, Oroville to the right. Trinity's 106 above historical average. Shasta's at 99%, but it's been much higher than that. Oroville is at 116% of national average. Now, they've been letting water out this entire time for the last 2 weeks, getting ready for this, and they've got the level somewhat down, but today it changed when this report come out, and I'm going to show you. If you go to the California Reservoir Levels page here, look at the Feather River, and that's what we're dealing with here, and one of the dams is Oroville. Again, the tallest in the nation. Move to the near the center right, and in the blue top column, it will say inflow. This morning, 14,714 cubic feet per second. And now at the bottom, 17,037 cubic feet per second. So you can see over 2,000 feet cubic feet per second inflow change, and it's an increase. To the left of that, you notice the outflow is about the same. They're going to have to start watching that. Remember when it was destroying the spillway, they had opened it to 100,000 cubic feet per second. Look at Shasta Dam, not the tallest, but the largest reservoir in California. The inflow, 19,859, has increased by about the same amount, 22,844 cubic feet per second. So that's going to be a problem. Now, many people have said, and it would seem to make sense, that because of this, California's drought is over. But guys, the aquifer takes years and years to fill up. You don't just have it just drain down like a bathtub. It filters itself, it evaporates, but it takes years and years to do that. But what you've got a problem now in the Central Valley is that they're saying it will take 4 years for water to permeate down to the underground aquifers and start raising the valley level. What are they talking about? This area has been sinking, and sinking fast since 2009 because all of the agriculture in the area, and you see the large sprinkler systems pumping water out of the ground. Some places are dropping 2 feet a year. And this is, you notice San Francisco on the left, San Jose. This is the area that we're watching. Now look at the NASA images as it goes through from 2004 to 2014. The red is where it's sinking. Check that out, guys. And did you know they're talking about if they don't continue to get this type of rain for the next few years, it could continue sinking, and that's where you're seeing the sinkholes from around the planet. We've talked about it before. As you drain the aquifers, even in Florida, you see it because of the large. You got orange groves. You got all kind of other vegetation through there. But as you drain the underwater aquifers, they have a clay lining inside that, basically a tube. And when the clay dries, it crumbles and falls, and the earth falls in on top of it, and you get these large sinkholes. Well, this entire area of California that we're talking about, and again, areas some 2 feet a year. Now, what would be the problem in that? Here's what the problem would be. Salt water could run in. Salt water could get in under this area, and it would ruin every crop. It would ruin all the freshwater aquifers. And another major thing that's happening now, they're starting to see well casings crack because of this sinkage. You're going to have every type of infrastructure sinking in this area. So it's not good news, but it's good to be aware of what you're dealing with here. We're watching it, guys. It's a heads up. Be safe.